So, she says, I hear that you cannot get enough of the website Metacritic.
Quite the opposite. You know that.
You told me you wouldn't stop talking about it to me day in and day out, talking about Metacritic.com.
Couldn't be any more of the opposite. I never, ever visit the site, ever.
You might be the perfect candidate for this idea I had. You see, I just kind of want to come up with random games and just see if we can guess the Metacritic score. We can maybe go by like Price is Right rules or something, which I don't even know the direct Price is Right rules of like, what is it? Like just, I know it's closest to the number, but if it, is it like...
Without going over.
Without going over. So we want to be like one below instead of one over?
Yeah.
All right, so first up here, what are you thinking about Ikaruga on the GameCube? Specifically the GameCube version. I think that's pretty high.
Me too.
This is a legendary game.
Yeah, surprisingly difficult and surprisingly arcadey for a generation that was mostly AAA experiences. But the critics loved it, and that's why I ended up picking it up back in the day. And although I wouldn't personally rank it super high, I want to say probably, I'm going to say 79. Hopefully that's a good Metacritic score. Ooh. Again, I never visit the site, so.
Well, from what I have seen, reviews of games are weird. Like it feels like, you know, in different eras, like games are just always reviewed a little differently. I feel like Ikaruga is going to be like high 80s, low 90s. I'm going to say, so you're going to say 79?
Yeah. Keep it away from 80, but keeping it kind of high.
I'm going to say a 91.
Okay.
I'm just going to throw it out there. I think this is a 91er. Okay, the GameCube version, 85.
Wow.
85. So I think, we're exactly the exact same points apart. But I think you win.
I'll tell you what, I'm not going to be Bob Barker about it. I will give that to you because that's pretty close to what you were saying.
But it is pretty close to what you were saying, too. It's exactly as close as what you were saying.
Yeah, I was being a bit conservative, though. I thought for sure, like, it couldn't be, like, mid-80s. But I see what you're saying now with the older games.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I'm seeing, like, the Switch port has an 88.
Oh, it went up!
PC port has an 84. The 360 version has an 87, so... Either way, this game is...
I love how they're still trying to figure out the PS4 version.
Yeah. Still have no idea. No damn clue.
They haven't decided yet.
Well, how about this? I'll give that one to you. So, point for you here.
Okay.
Why don't you pick a game? Let's hear what you got. Let's hear what's crawling around over there for you.
I got a pretty controversial title on top of my mind, and I'm curious to see how the critics reacted to it versus general audiences. So the pick I'm going to go with for my first is Star Fox Zero.
Ooh, okay, I think I know this one. I think this is, I think this is in the 70s or high 60s.
This one ranks pretty high for me personally. I know that there was like one review that was like, I'm straight up not going to play past the first level because I hated the controls that much. But I want to say he was an outlier, but still I can imagine that really hurts the aggregate score. So I'm gonna say 68.
You know what? I think that's pretty accurate. I think IGN gave it like a 7.5 or something like that. So that's why I'm kind of thinking 75, but I think I'm going to go with a 69. I'm going to go 1 point above. You might as well not even look because I think you're going to be pretty upset.
What is it?
I got my first point because I was right on the money.
No way.
It got a 69.
Holy crap.
Solid 69. I was thinking maybe a 75, but I'm like, nah. This is in the yellow.
It's like that satisfying feeling when you count all the beans correctly in the jar. It's like, holy crap, he got it right on the money.
Yeah, I got Star Fox Zero's exact Metacritic score. So why do you love this game? Why do you love this game so?
You know what? I like the fact that they brought back the original voice actors. I do like that there's primarily like the old school arcadey action levels that were in Star Fox 64. Yeah, the controls are unintuitive. It takes a long time to get used to, but after like 2 hours, which I do admit is a long time to get used to controls of all things, I end up having a great time with it. It's still not as content rich as Star Fox 64, but compared to all the other entries, I ended up liking this as like my second favorite. I have a statue of the Star Fox Zero Fox.
I respect that to some extent. I respect the statue more than the game, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I get it, but it's also like, I don't know. I do like a lot of the elements that you do, but it just hit me in a different way, and it's just unfortunate.
You and many others, and I do understand your side of things too. It's a beautiful statue. So
Yeah. What about Star Fox Guard? That could be my next game.
sure, yeah. I can't even imagine people actually reviewed that because it feels like it was such a supplementary thing. But I would be shocked if it's even on Metacritic, which that's what I'm most excited about. I want to say it's somehow ranked better than Star Fox Zero, which would be really sad. So I'll give it a 72.
So I think in some instances it did score higher than Star Fox Zero. I think the IGN review was like 0.1 point better than Star Fox Zero. I feel like the Metacritic score is going to be a bit lower. I feel like it's probably going to be a 66.
Okay.
Son of a gun. All right, 74.
Wow.
I want to clarify these rules here. I think the only time we use the Price is Right rules is when we are exactly the same points apart.
Okay.
Like with the first one.
Perfect.
Because I think it would be a little rough if you picked 76 and I picked 66 and I won. All right, well, if I pick Star Fox Guard, what are you picking here?
I will pick The Last Guardian.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I don't think it ever got many bad reviews. I think the main controversy was that it got kind of average reviews. You know, like it got a lot of like 7 out of 10s and whatnot. And it didn't really live up to expectations to an extent in terms of critical reviews. I think it would be from the 70 to 80 region.
I'm going to guess low 80s, so I'm going to just lock in a 81. There's no way it's upper 80s. No way in like at all. But I do think that despite the fact that there was a little bit of a blowback for how intuitive that game also was, I imagine critics were a little more favorable towards it. So that's going to be my locked in guess. I'm going to be a little favorable this time and say 81.
Okay, I was about to say 82, so I'm just going to remove that from my brain. I'm going to go 77.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go 77 just to be a little more interesting. I literally was going to say 82. I literally said 82.
It's on record. You definitely said that.
Just because you decided, damn, I gotta pick 81. I won. Yeah, okay, you know what? I was gonna do 82, but I
Dude,
won.
I'm super proud of the fact that I was 1 point off. Holy cow.
I was on it. I was on the money. Whatever. So, I'm gonna pick a game that is generally considered one of the game of the years when it came out. The Witcher 3.
The Witcher 3. I will give a 97.
You locking that in?
I'm gonna lock that in.
All right, because I'm gonna give my theory after you locked it in, because I think only a certain few games get 97s. I don't think The Witcher 3 is one of them. Okay. I think it may be considered one of the best games of all time to many, but not Metacritic. I think it's like a 94, maybe 95. Oh, okay. I'll give it a 90. You know what? 93. I'm going 93. How about that? All right.
All right.
Keep going lower and lower. To be fair, this is a multi-platform release. And there's different scores for different versions, but at the end of the day, I still won.
Yes, so now I know that 97s is like the upper echelon.
Yeah, 97 is that's like Mario Galaxy, Breath of the Wild, like Grand Theft Auto 8. Not Grand Theft Auto 8, Grand Theft Auto 4. Actually, Grand Theft Auto 4 might have gotten like a 98.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah, that was a pretty big deal when that came out. But The Witcher 3 goes from 91 to 93, with the PC version getting 93. So either way, I think I made out pretty well with that one. So what's your pick?
How about Heavy Rain on the PlayStation 3?
Oh, yeah. So I think that got pretty good reviews, even though man.
Yeah, I know. What a trade wreck.
What a silly wet rat, you know? That's just I think it's in the 80s.
Yeah, I'm going to say a solid 90. Because again, I think it's I was trying to think of one of those games that reviewed well to start with, and then people started becoming more critical of as years went by. So I'm hoping that this is one of those games where people don't remember it as fondly. I personally thought it was cool at the time, but yes, part of it was for the I don't know what you call it, the memes. There's so many times where I just laugh out loud at the dialogue. So, but I will give it a 90 as far as how the critics reacted at the time, because it was revolutionary. Remember?
Okay.
That
Okay.
Those graphics.
They are graphics. I will give them that. The game is such a fun. That game is so fun. I think it's super fun. It's like the most fun, serious, dramatic, tragic story of all time. I love the reveal of the killer. That was funny.
It's the most fun you could have with a wet rat.
Yeah, it is. That is the best way to describe it. I'd give it like an 86. I think an 86. Okay. I think critics were pretty into this game. I remember people saying like this is like the best story of all time. I'm not just saying this because it's close to what I said, but I feel like we should go with the PS3 version because we're talking about what critics said at the time because there is a PS4 version and stuff. But the PS3 version at an 87, baby.
Whew. Kind of close. And what did you guess again?
Fairly close. I guessed 86.
Oh, okay, but a little closer on your end. Okay.
Just a little bit. 1 point away, if you will. Yeah, like at 99 positive reviews. How does that happen? That's silly. Like that should be illegal. Like, I feel like there should have been more pushback. What was going on there? How about a game that came out at least within the past like year or two? Mario Strikers Battle League. I'm kind of thinking that because from what I remember, the reviews were pretty okay. Like I remember like some review outlets gave it like 8 out of 10, some 9 out of 10. But like when that game actually released, everybody was like, "What is this? Like this isn't what I want," kind of thing. I don't think it's gonna be crazy high, but I feel like this is one where like the user score is like in the 4s. They're just like, I don't like what I'm seeing here. But I think the reviews were like weirdly a bit high, so I would say like a 74.
Okay, I will probably aim for a 77 because it's like you kind of discussed earlier how game review scores have changed over the years to be a little more favorable. I will test the waters with that one. Again, I'm not the Metacritic guru, but I'm going to aim a little higher just to see.
All right, well, I won 73.
Oh,
1
dang.
point away. They call me 1 Point Scott. That's what they call me, everybody. All right, so what are you picking here?
You picked a recent game, and I figure I shall do the same. I'm going to see what they thought of Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Ooh, I think it was pretty high. I think, okay, here's the thing. I think this game, everybody loved for like the first like couple months, you know, but I think everybody at that time was doing nothing but playing this game. So I think people got burnt out on it way sooner than we were supposed to. In addition to like, so like I do think that, but at the same time, I do feel like there's a lot of stuff missing in this game at the same time. So it's kind of like, you know, I still like the game quite a bit, but it's mostly based on memories at this point. Like, man, I played that a lot.
It was something that we had during the pandemic, and it was a wild time, and we just overconsumed it. I mean, I was going to overconsume it either way because I'm an Animal Crossing fan, but yeah, I burned through it within like the first 3 or 4 months, and then I was like, okay, I maxed out everything I can do on my island. What else is there to do? So at that point, I was just like, okay. I was hoping for more DLC, especially with how successful it was, but I guess they just had their plans set out from the get-go, regardless of how popular it got.
Yeah, but, you know, it was like a Game of the Year nominee that year. I mean, like, everybody was playing it. It was a gorgeous game. That first, like, couple months you're playing it, it's awesome. Like, the way they kind of redo the Animal Crossing formula, but don't completely change it, I think made it like a really strong first impression. I'm going to say 91.
I swear I'm not basing this off of what you just said. I had it in my head that I was going to pick 92. So, just 1 point above you.
Well, hooray, hurrah. It is a 90.
1 point Scott strikes again.
It is.
Dang it.
I keep striking 1 point at a time. And look at that. The user score is 5.6. That makes sense. It just all adds up.
What the heck?
Man.
That is stupidly low.
I think when people get kind of upset about certain things, they will get kind of upset about it on Metacritic. I will tell you that.
What the heck did they get upset about? I can't even imagine.
The lack of content, man. They didn't have all the stuff. They drip fed everything via free updates. And it was like, what's going on here?
Okay, that's fair.
Taking with a little bit of a Nintendo fun. I think I was gonna do a Pikmin thing. But I do know I'm pretty I'm pretty knowledgeable on the first four's like general like vibe. They always scored very high, but not Hey Pikmin. I kind of want to see what Hey Pikmin scored. I don't think it scored poorly, but I think it's in the 70s.
I'm gonna do high 60s, and I'm trying to think about this from a reviewer's point of view, where the frame rate was a little dodgy. You couldn't use the 3D scaler for a 3DS game, and it's just sort of smaller in scope as opposed to some other 3DS titles. So I'm gonna guess high 60s. I'm gonna put in a 60. I'm gonna just make it just below 70. I'm gonna do a 69.
I did think about what you're saying there. I'm going 66. One straight
Okay.
66. Not even in the 70s, man. Let's see.
Sniping it. Okay.
Oh man!
Oh,
Damn
wow.
it!
Right on the money.
Right on the money. Look
Shoot.
at that, eh?
Heck yeah,
Pretty
dude.
crazy. Very impressive. To be fair, the user score I nailed. I got the
Yeah.
user score. You got the meta score. All right. Well, now it's up to you. What do you got?
I'll throw in one more Nintendo game. I just recently talked about it, and I'm curious to see what the Metacritic score was. Super Paper Mario on the Nintendo Wii.
I think that still got pretty decent reviews. All the Paper Marios do fairly well, like review-wise. Like it's something where it's just like you know what the reception of these games are these days. You know what the general like consensus is about a lot of these titles. But then you look at the reviews, and like I know Paper Mario Sticker Store got like some 8 out of 10s, and people were saying like, man, this is great. And you just kind of wonder like what was going on there. That's what I'm thinking with like Mario Strikers. I'm like, what was going on there? But I think Super Paper Mario still did fairly well. I think I'm gonna say like a 79.
I think that's pretty accurate. I'm very curious, by the way, what the user score would be for Sticker Star at this point. But Super Paper Mario, I'm going to say just a solid 80. I think that's a little high on my end, because I think that what I believe is that reviewers are going to hit between 7 and 8 base. So probably guessing a solid 80 is a bad idea, but I'm going to go with it anyway.
Well, you won because it's an 85.
85? Holy crap.
That's pretty high.
That's way higher than I thought it was going to be.
The same. I was thinking it's like a little more like it's good, but whatever. Like just a bit strange, but yeah, 85. Interesting.
Wow.
All right, what would
Never
you
would've
rate
guessed.
it?
Oh, me personally, if we're going to do a 100 score, I'll do like 87. Like almost close
Wow.
to a solid 9 out of 10. Because of the story, there is one major drawback to that game. It's not the change in gameplay style. It's the fact that almost every chapter has something where it tricks you and you have to meander around for a little while to figure out what the heck the game wanted you to do.
Yeah.
That I will dock a point for. But otherwise, the story is super awesome. I never thought that I would like a Mario story on that level, but I really like the story. It's very memorable all these years later. And honestly, I like a good action RPG, and for Mario to kind of blend RPG with its roots, I thought was a kind of a neat idea. The flipping of the 3D thing was a very cheap gimmick, but I got used to it.
I think that gimmick is really cool, but it's also like, like you said, it is a bit of a cheap gimmick. But I think it does feel a little like shoehorned in there. Like it's something where it's just like, let's come up with a new gimmick. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like you could design an entire game around that concept without it feeling kind of like, oh, let's just throw this in here as a cool little feature, as a cool little like ability you have. I'm thinking I kind of want to go a little negative right now. So I'm kind of thinking of like some of the most poorly received games. Do you remember SimCity, the reboot in 2013?
What's going on with that one?
Oh, that game just got like bombed back in 2013. Like it was like you had to be always online. It was like one of the games that were like one of the big pioneers, not the pioneer, but like, we're in an era where like it feels like so many games are like it requires an internet connection. This is one of the first big controversies of like, yep, here's a game and it's a single player game, but it requires an internet connection. And I think on launch day, on like launch and like throughout the first couple like weeks, it was impossible for people to log on. And like, I think everybody's dabbled into SimCity, but I haven't played this 2013 one too much. I played it for like footage a while back, but if you throw me SimCity, I'll have a good time. This is just based on what I feel like was the public perception around that time. I think it's low 70s.
I think it's one of those things where the reviewers favored it, but it was just massive amounts of community backlash. Now I remember what you were talking about. It was like the Diablo 3 and this were these sour spots in video game history. Like, it's known in infamy for what it did with that. And so if we were to go with user scores, I would say like a solid like 2 or 4.
Oh, I think it's like 0 point something, you know? Like, I think people
I can't wait
it.
now. You'll have to tell me. So for my guess, as far as the reviewers, I'm going to say a 75.
Okay, I'm going to say a 71. I'm going with that, and I'm sticking to it. And let me see. Haha, 64. And to be fair, the user score, you were closer because it's a 2.2. So
nice.
It's at least closer there. Yeah, I mostly got mixed reviews. Eurogamer Sweden gave it a 100.
Oh my god. What?
That's a bit far, I think, but well, okay. But yeah, SimCity 2013, 64. A point for Scott, thank you very much. But yeah, what do you got here?
I want to go with one of those games that everybody hated, but I personally loved, and it's not Star Fox Zero this time. I'm going to go with Alien Syndrome on the Wii. I don't know if you've played that before, but back then I was looking for great multiplayer games. This one allowed up to 4 players doing a Diablo-style gameplay experience on the Wii, where you could also aim at the screen to line up your shot. So you used guns, and like you could use the IR sensor to be able to aim your shots and stuff. And it was really janky. So it really deserves those low scores, but our friends had like dumb fun with this one. So I'm going to give it like a 56.
I'm thinking 54, and I do know of the game you're talking about, but I haven't personally played it. But I do know, it's like a Sega game, right? Sega published it?
Yep. And it was made by a U.S. studio.
Was it WayForward? No, WayForward made like another, I think they made an Aliens game or something, like the movie franchise. I'll look it up after I look up this Metacritic score, but I'm going 54.
Okay.
So do you want to pick the Wii one or the PSP one?
The Wii one.
Okay, I won. 48.
I mean, I should have just said PSP, but I would have been lying because of the multiplayer. But yeah, 48. Oh my goodness.
User score is up there though. User score is a 7.4.
Yeah, okay, good. It got its retribution, it looks like, from 27 people.
I didn't realize this was a bit of an early Wii game. This is 2007.
It's a little bit of a hidden gem. It's got its jank, but if you have 3 other buddies and you all just want to do a great couch co-op game, this one is honestly up there for me. You almost embrace the jank because it's part of the fun. So.
I do want to bring up this weird. So WayForward did create Aliens Infestation on DS, which was also published by Sega. So Sega had Alien Syndrome, but they also had the license to the Aliens games. Little funny.
Conflict of interest, I feel like.
Little silly.
Yeah. I thought for sure you were talking about the Mummy Demastered for a second.
No,
there.
I was thinking. I think they made a Centipede game too. I think that's what I was thinking. Whatever. Let me see. WayForward's done all kinds of wacky junk. They made a Centipede game in 2011 and an Aliens game in 2011, both subtitled Infestation. Aliens Infestation and Centipede.
I wonder if it's like an inside joke or something.
No, it's published by different people. Centipede was published by Atari.
Wow.
What is going on? No wonder I was confused about WayForward games that released in 2011. All right, so I'm thinking, let's go with, how about Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy, the Definitive Edition?
Okay. Shoot.
I think that's pretty low.
Yeah, I'm going to say you're probably right. Yeah, nobody liked that thing, and I imagine the critics lined up with that. I'd hope they would.
It's a problem because the games at their core are still those, like, huge games that define generations, whatever. But, like, playing them in that form is so, stinky.
Yeah, disappointing, to say the least.
I think it'd be in the 50s. I think it's like a 54. Again, I'm picking 54.
Okay, I'm going to just go with a solid 60.
It's a little hard to figure out.
Yeah.
Because, once again, this is a multi-platform release. The PS5 version, I got dead on.
Oh, wow.
The Switch release is a 46. The PC version is a 49.
Okay, so across the board, I definitely was being way too generous. I thought the critics would not lambast it, but I was clearly wrong.
That's pretty interesting. That's pretty fun, especially because I got that point there. That's so cool.
That's what makes it the most fun.
How about this? I think we got 3 more in us.
Okay.
We can see who wins at the end of the day. Hopefully, I think it's going to be me, but we will see. So let's see. What's your pick here?
Oh shoot, I wasn't thinking. How about Metroid Dread?
Metroid Dread? I think that's pretty high up there. I think that's like gonna be like an 80. Ooh, I mean, like, so I love that game. I think that game is like the definitive 2D Metroid.
Yes.
You know, if you take away like a lot of the like nostalgia, the legacy of stuff like Super Metroid, which is a phenomenal game, but it's also like, I think Dread just does that better, you know? I think it's like 2D Metroid perfected. I'm going 87.
I mean, against my better judgment, because it hasn't worked out with me so far, I will give it a 90. I agree with you. I think the only thing that Super Metroid does better, in my opinion, is maybe just the overall atmosphere, like music and how they set up their environments and stuff like that. But you go back and forth between the gameplay of the two, I'm going to pick Metroid Dread. I just love how fast and snappy it is and all the tools that you have that you're just zipping around, and it's just way more involved combat-wise. So I also think Metroid Dread might be my favorite in the series now. But let's hope the critics agree.
Well, they do.
Yeah?
But I agree even harder because I'm 1 point behind. All right. Very cool. 88.
Nice, man.
I think like in that top 80s is like, wow, this is a fantastic game. Early 90s, that's going to be like, this is a game of the year kind of thing. And then like top 90s is like, this is like universal acclaim. This is a game of the generation kind of deal. Like NFL 2001, that was a Sega Dreamcast game that has like an 91
What?
or something.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I was hoping you were joking.
Yeah, there it is. NFL 2K1, 97 on Metacritic.
Oh, my God.
Pretty good.
Yeah, okay, I guess I gotta play it sometime.
Yeah, it's one of the best games of all time.
Have you ever actually played it?
No. But I do respect what critics say. 22 of them that contributed to that Metascore.
Oh, wow.
But for my last game, let me see. I kind of want to go with another like non-Nintendo game since we're both big into the Nintendo crotch of the internet. What are you thinking? Help me pick here. Should I go bad, average, or great?
Here's what I'm gonna do, and I suggest you do the same if you're up for it. One of your favorite games of all time.
Oh man, that's tricky because I know like my favorite game of all time is Mario Galaxy, but I already told you that it's a 97.
Okay,
because I know
maybe
that.
Just one other one, and that's a great game, by the way.
Yeah, one of my favorite games of all time. Ooh, okay, all right, funny one, and it is kind of in the Nintendo crotch. Not like it's more so like a favorite game, kind of like in an Alien Syndrome sort of way for you. GoldenEye 007 on Wii.
Okay.
I love that game. That game was awesome back then because, you know, I'm a stinky little born in 97 guy. So, you know, when I was 13 or something, I wanted a first-person shooter. The only game I had, the only console I had was a Wii, so I bought GoldenEye at a GameStop used, and I loved it. It's very similar to Call of Duty, but with some zazz to it, you know? It's not as depressing. Got great multiplayer, all of that. It was a great modern version of what GoldenEye was back then. I'll probably give it like a 79.
I've owned it for years because it was cheap enough at like swap meets or yard sales and stuff like that, and I ended up with a copy at some point. I've still yet to ever pop it in my Wii just to see if I would have liked it.
I don't think you're missing out on much. I don't think you're missing out on much. It's good. I think it's as cool as it is to me because it was Wii exclusive and they made it for the Wii so that way you weren't playing like have you ever played any of the Call of Duty ports on Wii? Because like those just feel like you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. You know, like it's just like these don't belong here.
Yeah, I did Battlefield, and it's neat because you get the IR pointer and everything, but at the same time too, it's sort of like, what am I doing here? I've never been like a military shooter guy, so
I've never been a military shooter guy either. But at the same time, you know, like when I wanted to try an FPS, this was great, and it was made specifically for Wii, so it felt right. Playing it there, so
I will give it a 75. You didn't guess 75, right?
I picked 79, and well, it looks like 1 point Scott has graduated to 2 points Scott. That's a little higher than I was expecting. That's a little higher.
Nice.
I mean, like it got decent reviews. I just think a lot of people, there's a lot of like GoldenEye nuts from, you know, like that love the N64 one. They hate this version. They're like, this isn't my GoldenEye. I'm like, it's not supposed to be. If you're gonna make a modern version of GoldenEye, it's probably gonna play like Call of Duty. So that's probably That's kind of the main thing why it doesn't feel like the original. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. Also, I am still 1 point Scott when it comes to the user score being a 78. So, hooray, hurrah. You have the last game here.
Okay.
What are you picking?
Gonna hit you with Chrono Trigger. I know that that's a Super Nintendo game, but there's been ports on Steam and everything, so
Which port do you want to do? You got the DS one, you got the Steam one.
I'll do DS because I do know that Steam got a bad rap when it first came out, and it's fine now for the record, but I guess with the DS one, that one had a few issues, so it's really just being judged on its merits of the game itself and not the performance or anything. So I will hit you with the DS port just to be on the safe side, unless there is a Super Nintendo version. Whatever, DS version. Let's do it.
I'm gonna go 91. You say the DS one to you has some issues?
There's only one issue I've ever witnessed, and it was my buddy went to go save his game. When he reloaded it, he was stuck in the wall. So, but I don't think that's ever been widely reported. But I do know that some few handful of people have also experienced that.
I generally hear this is like to many the definitive version of the game because you get like the cutscenes from the PS1 version.
Yeah.
In addition to like not many load times. I'm going 91.
Okay. I will give it a 93 just because I personally hope it is. I mean, this isn't me speculating. This is me just being hopeful for the game.
Well, I just looked it up. 1 point Scott strikes again.
No.
And if we're going by Price is Right rules,
Did you go over?
it is a 92. Nah, I was under.
Oh, okay.
A 92, and user score I nailed.
Wow. Well, well
Hooray.
earned.
That felt amazing. That felt amazing. It does make me realize, wow, I might have a pretty good handle on Metacritic scores and nothing else.
Heck yeah, dude. I was gonna say if we do Name That Tune on Good Vibes Gaming's channel at some point, it's over, buddy. If we were just playing the wrong sport for me.
I can do that kind of stuff sometimes, but
Yeah.
hey, this was incredible. This was absolutely incredible, and what a better way to really learn this about ourselves. I mean, what's the most surprising score to you here?
I think it was the user score for Alien Syndrome, of all things. I thought for sure, like, nobody liked that game except for me. So to see that, I think it was like around the 7s or something, I was like, oh, there's like 20 dudes out there that know what's up. Which I was like, yes, okay. Some validation for actually liking that title. What about you?
You gotta meet up with them. You gotta meet up with them sometime. I think it's mainly Hey Pikmin. That was a little it was Star Fox Guard. It was Star Fox Guard. The fact that like the 76, I think a 76 is just like that's implying that this is like, wow, I recommend this. Who's recommending that? It's more so like you let it happen to you.